everybody. Welcome once again to Cooking with Charles. And guess what? I'm your host, Charles. And as always, we drink to that. Okay, tonight, got a lot of great things for you. First of all, we're going to make a wild mushroom risotto. We're going to bake some chicken thighs, boneless, skinless, of course. And we're going to make a mayonnaise. So get yourself a beverage, or as we say on the show, a libation. Strap your feed bag on and get ready for a half an hour of culinary greatness, folks. Come right back and I'll show you how it all comes together. Cooking with Charles is made possible by the generous donations of Sully's Superette, the Goffstown Network. If you need a helping hand, they're there to lend that helping hand. If you can lend a helping hand, they can use your help. Hey folks, welcome back. I'm getting things started over here. I got some rice right now with a little bit of oil heating up in this pan right here. Why are we doing that? Well, we want to get the rice slightly warmed, slightly browned. The oil or butter will give it a little nuttier flavor. But first of all, you need to find out, what do we need for our wild mushroom risotto? So let's get the goods up there and figure it out. Well, the first thing we're going to need is dried wild mushrooms. Secondly, we'll need, oh, it's right here, some rice. Regular rice, folks. You don't need the fancy Italian rice for this dish either. I'll show you why later. Need some stock, which I'm opening right here. And we need some Parmesan cheese, which I have pre-portioned right here. So let's get back to how this all comes together. First, we're heating up the rice. It's going to make it a little nutty, a little brown, give it a little depth of flavor. Now, I said you don't need arborito, or however you pronounce that fancy Italian word for rice. Regular long grain white rice will work fine, because what we're doing is we're cooking it for so long and stirring it, we're extracting all that starch, making the nice creamy sauce, which is what we look for in risotto. Now, is this as good as risotto rice? No. But is it comparable? Yes. Is it something you have in your cupboard right now? Most likely. So, as we get this working, I'm going to give that a little stir. Oh, it's getting nice and brown. They're browning nicely right in there. Let me get this going too. And as we talk about this risotto, let's discuss its history, because I want to, well, I'm not calling it another cooking show on this channel. Oh, see that? A little bit of time, guys. But risotto is an Italian dish, as we all know. Gonna let that boil down, put that on high. But it's a great dish. It's a wonderful dish. The Italians got this dish, actually, like the Italians mostly do, by taking somebody else's ideas. No offense to the Italians, but your culinary history is you take from somebody else, you make it your own. Unlike the French, who solidly own it. Anyway, this rice dish came from the Arabs. It was an Arabic origin dish brought to Italy, where the Spaniards, who occupied Italy at the time, gave us this long cooking time. So, but like the Italians do, they take things as their own and they run away with it. So, good for you, Italy. You give us all these great things. But this is really more of a Spanish-Arabic dish than an Italian dish, if you want to get technical on me. But anyway, so what we're going to do is we're taking this, we put those in oil, we brown them. Now, we're going to take our mushrooms. We have shiitake, we have morel, we have oyster, we have lobster, kind of a seafoody sounding thing. We also have porcini in here. This is about an ounce of dried mushrooms. I'm using about 1/3 of it. And all I'm going to do is just put that in there. And we're going to cook this like regular risotto. But, you know, we don't have to constantly be stirring it. Let's keep that. Oh, let's get that shot back there. Whoa. I was going to say, let's look at that. See, we're just going to keep heating and reducing, heating and reducing. And this constant stirring is going to make it nice and creamy. Now, I called out the other show. One, I was watching Culinary Classics, which you all must see. It's a great cooking show here on this channel. Guy and Todd, the host, were talking about risotto. They made a great vegetable risotto, and I was really hungry. It was last Friday night, 10 o'clock in the evening, because that's what we cooking show hosts do. We sit around and we watch other cooking shows because that's kind of like our thing, you know? It's like porn to us, basically. Anyway, I had no burrito rice, so I made this, and it was so delicious. But they said the French stole this from the Italians, but really the Italians stole it from the Arabs and the Spanish, and God, who knows who's right. But I will say this, the Italians do take a lot of stuff, and they take it as their own. Noodles, Oriental, rice, from the Arabs, tomatoes, those San Marzano tomatoes, those plum tomatoes and all their tomato sauce. Those are from the Aztecs. Those are from the Mexican, Mesopotamia area. So they know how to take stuff and make it their own. God bless them. All right, so we're going to let that simmer down for a while. We'll add some more to that. As I said in my intro, grab yourself a libation. We always cook with a libation. Tonight we have a Gallo Cabernet. Has nothing to do with what we're cooking with tonight. I just like a good Cabernet. And I choose a Gallo because it's a really great, inexpensive, everyday wine. You don't have to break your bank drinking great wine all the time. Although a nice bottle is a nice bottle. But for the Budweiser wines, this is pretty darn good. It's actually better than a Budweiser in my book. All right, so what else we got going on, folks? We are winding down the third season. Yes, the third season of Cooking with Charles. So what are you going to do all summer? Well, you can watch reruns. Oh, but you don't live in Goffstown. Well, guess what? We have a YouTube channel. Ha-ha! Cooking with Charles M. All one word. Watch this show and any show 24/7. You can also stay in touch by emailing me. I do have email too. And that email address is cookingwithcharles@gmail.com. All right, we got that going. So we have the next item on our menu tonight, and that is baked chicken thighs, which I have some nice ones right here. And for this, we need, here are the goods, chicken thighs, of course, a little bit of olive oil or garlic, and breadcrumbs. I put a little bit of oil in the pan already. I'll put a little more, and we're going to bake these. The thing I love about chicken thighs, they are flavorful, and they're still inexpensive. I buy boneless, skinless, and I suggest you do the same. I did a study one night, and I did it a few times, and that study entailed taking skin on, bone in thighs, deboning, deskinning, timing myself, and how much it cost and how much these cost. And guess what? Oh, a little stir there. No comparison. It was cheaper when I added my time, and I'm not a rich man. My day job, God, I think I make less than a director of a community television station here. But it was a lot cheaper to buy this than to work those same hours to make the overtime to pay for it. So all I'm doing right now, folks, is I'm just taking off these little extra bits of skin. If I was home and not in the studio, I would take these little bits of skin and I'd put those in a bag and put those in my freezer. And those would go into my chicken stock. Because when I get enough chicken parts, skin, bones, all that kind of stuff, a couple of onions, a couple of celery hearts, that, my friend, becomes my chicken stock. And it will become yours too. All right. We are just going to place these in this baking dish. All right. Now, what are we going to do with this? Well, we're going to take some garlic. I got a garlic clove right here. Now, you can do two things with this. Let me get this out of the way. I always cut the ends off. You can either smash it like that, like they do on TV, take it apart, and then peel off the skin, or you can slice it, peel off the skin. I prefer doing that because it feels so good, and I feel so strong when I can destroy a little lowly garlic clove. And all I'm going to do with this is get rid of the skin. Just going to keep dicing this up. Yeah. And you know what? You don't have to do a real heavy-duty dice with this. Because we're going to roast this. The flavors are all going to incorporate to everything. Ooh, gotta watch the risotto. There we go. Now, for that half cup of rice, I've got about a cup of, actually 2 cups of stock right now. All right, so we got this in there. That's going to come together very nicely. I'm gonna clean up right here. And we're going to salt. And guys, ladies, everybody, I always use sea salt. At the very least, I will use kosher salt. I will never use that table salt from Morton's because that is nothing but chemicalized salt where they take everything out and there's no salt left, but it's a chemical and they put a salt flavor back in. So I'll never use that. And I suggest you don't either. Salt is a great, great mineral. It's a great thing to eat fresh. All right, so we have this going on. Where are my breadcrumbs? We're going to add some of these. Now, what do the breadcrumbs do when you add these to a dish? Well, a few things, folks. One, they act as a barrier. The breadcrumbs will keep the moisture down into the food because the moisture comes up, it goes in breadcrumbs, it falls back down. So it's gonna keep your food moist. You don't really have to keep chicken thighs moist too much because they're a very fatty, comparatively, meat to like a skinless, boneless breast of chicken. They'll also add flavor because you get that toasty flavor to it. So we have our oven preheating. You know what? I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper to this as well. So as you can see, we have a very, very, very basic chicken dish. Now, chicken thighs, you can't screw up. You can cook them forever, and they're so hard to dry out because they have a high fat content. But that's when they're bad for you. It's a good fat. I took off a lot of the skin. These will come out perfecto. About 400 degrees, about 20 minutes. So what are we going to do right now? Well, right now, we are going to stir this, because this will be done the same time the chicken is done, and it's going to be creamy goodness. So right now, let's take a little break, because I need a refresher on my wine, and I'm sure you do too, because I know some of you have just started watching the show, and you forgot to bring your wine bottle with you to sit in front of the TV. It's okay. Next time you'll know. Bring 2 bottles because we all drink ourselves a sexy at some point. So anyway, we'll see you in about 2 minutes, folks, and we'll start making our super duper aioli to put this all together. Hi, I'm Charles Minnick, host of GTV's smash hit, Cooking with Charles. I've teamed up with the Goffstown Network to tell you about their outreach and food pantry programs. The mission of the Goffstown Network is to provide for the hunger-related needs of our neighbors in Goffstown and their surrounding communities. Founded with the governing principles that no person should go hungry and every person deserves our care. The Goffstown Network serves the area by providing food and other services on an emergency short-term basis. This spirit of community and mutual caring is extended to anyone in Goffstown, Dunbarton, and New Boston. Normal hours of operation are Wednesday evenings, 6 to 8 p.m., and Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. to noon. Now, you can also assist them through donations of time, food, or money. Like the help they give, the help they receive is also greatly appreciated. You can reach them by calling the number on your screen or by stopping by the Parish House of St. Matthew's Church. It's located in downtown Goffstown at 7 North Mass Street, right across from Sully's. Hey, welcome back everybody. We are on the final chapter of our culinary journey tonight. We have already seen how to make a wild mushroom risotto. There it is right there. We now also have in our oven baked chicken thighs, boneless, skinless of course. So what is next? The mayonnaise aioli. So what do we need for the mayonnaise aioli? Well, first, for this risotto, we got to turn down because it's getting the tail end of its lifespan on the oven, on the stovetop. So, the goods for the mayonnaise. First and foremost, we need 1 large egg, neutral oil divided, about a cup. We'll need some ground mustard, dash of cayenne. And where is my other? Oh, right here, right in front of me. We actually have vinegar and water right here. You can also use lemon if you want, white wine, or champagne. But I prefer white vinegar distilled. And I cut this instead of 2 tablespoons, as it says right there. I'll cut this with 1 tablespoon of vinegar and 1 tablespoon of water. I also will use salt to taste. So let's get started, folks. This is creamy goodness right here, but we're going to let that sit in very low. So first thing we're going to do is the egg. We're going to crack that. Now, some of you are probably going, ooh, raw egg. Well, yeah, raw egg. It's in your mayonnaise, folks. It's in a lot of things. Rocky could down 12 of these, but we're not Rocky. So what are we going to do? Well, the raw egg is in a sterile environment. Going to add our vinegar right now. And I'm going to add this stuff as I talk to you. Half tablespoon or a teaspoon of dry mustard. As I was talking though, the raw egg is in a sterile environment. Pretty much, if your egg is stored properly, I like a good dash, and it has been sitting out in the sun, and there's no poo on it from the chicken, it's going to be good. Now, what happens when people get sick from eggs is when you crack it, what you're doing is you're taking the outside of the egg where the bacteria is living, and when you crack it and you open it, that little bit can cause the bacteria to bloom and blossom and make you sick with salmonella. So what do? Well, very simple. I wash my eggs if I do something like this. I might even go as far sometimes as to wipe the outside with a little bit of rubbing alcohol, let it air dry for a few minutes. All right, but that's just me. I'm not afraid of raw eggs. All right, 1 cup of oil. I'm using neutral oil. Here's a 1/4 cup. This is the divided part. Goes right in there. Now I'm going to pour another 3/4 of a cup, which equals my full cup. All right. Now my salt. Good pinch. Now, as I said, I'm using 1 tablespoon of vinegar, white distilled, and 1 tablespoon of water. I have made this recently with 2 tablespoons, as I mentioned, of white wine. Came out very nice. Champagne, I used Prosecco, came out very nice. 2 tablespoons of lemon, came out a little lemony. So what I want to do, I'm missing everything. Oh, here it is. I want to get this in all stir as I'm talking. So what I want to do is make it, what do you have in your kitchen? And well, everybody's got white distilled vinegar. So that's what we're using. And I found this actually worked the best. The best flavor. It tastes like you make it in the store. But guess what? Once you make this, you'll never go back to store-bought again. I guarantee you. All right, we have our handy hand blender here. If you don't have one of these, guess what? You probably have a blender that you probably got to make margaritas when you're 21 and you've never made frozen margaritas or daiquiris out of it. That works fine too. So does a food processor. You can even use a whisk. Takes a little longer, but hey, you know what? It still works. So all we do, mix everything together, and then very simply. See this? A little bit of oil. And then suddenly, as you're doing this, it thickens up. That's the magic right there. And then you pour it all in. Wow, in 90 seconds, folks, we made scrumdiddlylumptious mayonnaise. And this is, Hey, guess what? And from this mayonnaise base, as I said, it's aioli, which is a mother sauce. You can make a lot of things. Oh, imagine if we wanted to make a Caesar salad dressing, add some anchovies, Worcestershire sauce, and a touch of lemon and Parmesan. Guess what? That's all it is. All right. Wow. So now we have aioli, a mother sauce, one of the 5 original sauces handed down by the French cooking gods, the ones that invented modern cooking. So let's just take some of this, put that in here. That is tasty, tasty, tasty. But aioli means a lot of different things. So what does it mean? Well, you can have garlic aioli. Pretty much anything you want to add to the mayonnaise becomes an aioli. It's a base. So, God, what do I have here? Oh, one of my favorite things in the world, Asiago cheese. Gonna put some of that right in here because I saved some in there. Because who doesn't like an Asiago bagel from Panera Bread? Well, guess what? It's not the bread you like, it's the Asiago. So we're going to put that in with our aioli. Yeah, just a really fancy way of saying, I know what I'm doing. So, put that there. All right, folks, tell you what, let's take 2 seconds. When we come right back, we're going to plate this all up and be in culinary heaven. We'll see you in about 2 minutes. Actually, probably less. Maybe 1 minute, because I can't wait. Come right back. All right, folks, you are back just in time because guess what? We're about to have nirvana around here. We're entering that state. But at first, I need to find out, where are my utensils? Oh, everything is everywhere. All right. I've got my risotto ready. I was just putting in my Parmesan cheese as you came in. So, I can smell those mushrooms right here, right now. Wow. So, let's get this. See how creamy that is? Huh? Look at that. Look at that. It is sticking together. Let's put that right over here. All right, next up, we have some gorgeous golden brown. That's another way you can tell these things are done, is you have a golden brown crust. Right there, check that out. See how creamy that is? See how golden brown that is? Now, very simple. Oof, look at that. Now, if you want some color, we got a nice tomato right here. And we are just going to slice and dice this bad boy. God, I don't even want to wait till this is done. I don't want to slice and dice anymore. I just want to eat. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. I love cooking, folks, and I love cooking for you. All right. Let's see how this tastes. Non-risotto rice risotto. Awesome. Baked chicken thighs. Incredible. Mayonnaise slash aioli. Stupendous. Now, oh, the tomatoes give it just a little bit of sweetness, but all together, culinary heaven, folks. Culinary heaven. You make this with somebody, they will love you. With that being said, folks, I have to focus on this because, wow, that's my priority right now. So until next week, remember, when you're cooking with Charles, you're cooking with the good looking. We'll see you then. Cook with those you love. They'll love you right back. Yum. I love this job.